Good evening, you're watching KiniNews and I'm your host Prasad. How would you react if someone gave you 100,000 ringgit? Would you smile and say thank you? What if the 100,000 was a bribe?
Lim Guan Eng smiled as he was handed a 100,000 ringgit bribe when he was Penang Chief Minister in 2013, the court heard today. Consortium Zenith Construction Sendirian Berhad Senior Executive Director Zarul Ahmad Mohd Zulkifli testified that the accused also seemed happy when the former handed another 100,000 ringgit in bribes to the latter in 2014. Zarul, the 23rd prosecution witness, was testifying during today's corruption trial against Lim in relation to the 6.3 billion ringgit Penang undersea tunnel project. During examination in chief by the prosecution, Zarul claimed the payments were linked to Lim, purportedly asking for 10% of profit from the project in return for the project to be awarded to the witness's company via direct negotiation. Zarul claimed he handed both bribes in envelopes to Lim at the Chief Minister's office at Komtar in Georgetown, Penang. In the trial before the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court on December 17th last year, Zarul testified he was shocked when Lim allegedly asked for 10% of future profits from the project. Proceedings before Azura will resume tomorrow for the witness to continue reading his written witness statement.
The names in Ultra Kirana's ledger of all those who have received money are only surfacing now, and in an interview last night, Tommy Thomas explained why.
Former AG Tommy Thomas has revealed that the investigation papers into the foreign visa system case did not contain the micro-information needed to prosecute other individuals, apart from Ahmad Zahid Hamidi. The micro-information in question, according to Thomas, is a secret ledger of Ultra Kirana Sendirian Berhad. The ledger contained codenames and details of alleged payments of kickbacks made by the company to several prominent individuals between 2014 and 2018. Thomas was not surprised that such a revelation would be made this late into the trial, opining that it is wonderful. He said whether it's a criminal trial or a civil trial, they always produce surprising evidence, which is why nobody can fully prepare for a trial. He added that the amount of evidence, the volume of evidence, and intensity of the case becomes clearer at trial, not at the stage where a statement of claim in a civil case is filed or when you prosecute. Thomas said this when he appeared on lawyer and YouTuber Ang Wo Shang's Talk to speak on the Chinese edition of his memoir, My Story, Justice in the Wilderness.
Meanwhile, Ishmael said he knows nothing about the matters mentioned in the trial against Zahid.
Defense Minister Hishamuddin Hussein has denied knowledge of any links between him and revelations in court linked to Ultra Kirana Sendirian Berhad. In a tweet, he said he knew nothing of the matters mentioned in court recently. He added that if the MACC wishes to summon him for investigations, he will provide full cooperation with the authorities. He was responding to MACC's June 18 press release announcing an investigation. UKSB handled Malaysian visas for foreigners and the VLN authorized by the government, and is now the focus of a corruption trial against UMNO President Ahmad Zahid Hamidi. Last week, former UKSB Administrative Manager David Tan Seong Sun testified about a secret ledger where he recorded payments to various politicians and civil servants who are identified by codenames in the ledger. Following this, the MACC announced it would launch an investigation on people named in the corruption trial.
Being the chairperson or the member of the board of FGV is a lucrative job, and it may even get better. However, the move isn't sitting well with a DAP lawmaker.
A proposal by FGV Holdings Berhad to increase the annual allowance for its chairperson Zulkifli Abdul Wahab to 480,000 ringgit has been criticized by a DAP lawmaker. In a statement, DAP's Qatari State Assembly person Yang Shafura Othman said such proposals are only making rich Malays get richer, while others remained in the B40 group. She said the annual general meeting of FGV, the palm oil giant that is 80% owned by Felda, will be held today. Citing the meeting notice of FGV, which was filed in Bursa announcements in April, she alleged that part of the agenda was to fill the pockets of the chairperson and board members. She pointed out that the annual allowance of FGV chairperson will increase to 480,000 ringgit from 300,000 ringgit, an increase of 180,000 ringgit. She added that his monthly car allowance worth 18,000 ringgit will be replaced by whatever car he wants, together with an annual expense of 180,000 ringgit for car utilities. She said the chairperson also has a bodyguard and club allowance. Meanwhile, the annual allowance of the board directors will be increased to 150,000 ringgit from 120,000 ringgit. Shafura, who is known as Rara, trained her gun at Felda chairperson Idris Juso, who is also Besut MP and former Terengganu Menteri Besar. She asked whether he wasn't ashamed and why the Finance Ministry and the Prime Minister allowed such expenses. The allowance increment was among the resolution proposed by the FGV, where shareholders will vote remotely in its annual general meeting that will be held today.
It's been a month since Zuraida left Bersatu, but she's still in the cabinet using Bersatu's quota. Now an UMNO leader is lobbying the Prime Minister to give the post to UMNO instead.
UMNO Supreme Council member Muhammad Puad Zarkashi has urged Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob not to give in to Bersatu's lobbying efforts to replace Zuraida Kamarudin as Plantation Industries and Commodities Minister. In a statement, Puad said when Bersatu President Muhyiddin Yassin was Prime Minister, he ignored the UMNO hierarchy in cabinet appointments by appointing ordinary members as cabinet ministers. Puad said UMNO was made to look like it was greedy and only cared about positions instead of the rakyat at a time when the nation was facing the COVID-19 threat. He then questioned why Muhyiddin was being a busybody now by trying to meet the Prime Minister to seek the seat left by Zuraida. Puad added that the focus for the government now was to help the rakyat recover from the COVID-19 pandemic and therefore the Prime Minister should consider someone from UMNO. 2 days ago, Muhyiddin was reported by Free Malaysia Today as saying that he had been waiting 2 weeks to see Ismail Sabri to discuss a replacement for Zuraida. Zuraida left Bersatu on May 26. As of yesterday, nearly a month later, Zuraida was still attending the cabinet meeting. Currently, Zuraida is a member of Parti Bangsa Malaysia.
Will Aziz remain a member of the court cluster, or will his corruption case be struck out? We will know next week.
Baling MP Abdul Aziz Abdul Rahim is appealing to strike out the corruption and money laundering case against him. He will know next week whether he succeeds. Deputy Public Prosecutor Nik Haslini Hashim today told the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court that the Court of Appeal has set July 1st to decide on the appeal by the accused. Former Tabung Haji chairperson Aziz is appealing against the Kuala Lumpur High Court decision on March 12 last year, which rejected his application to quash 3 corruption and 10 money laundering charges. While appealing, the main case is still pending before the Sessions Court. August 30th has been fixed for mention of the case. Previously, the Court of Appeal set March 21st to deliver its decision on Aziz's appeal. However, the decision on the date was postponed. Aziz is facing 3 counts of accepting bribes of 5.2 million ringgit in relation to road projects in Kedah and Perak. He also faces 10 counts of money laundering involving 13.9 million ringgit, which he purportedly received from Menuju Asas.
The DAP says Ismail Sabri's announcement of additional cash assistance will not relieve the burden of most Malaysians struggling with the rising cost of living.
DAP chairperson Lim Guan Eng views Putrajaya's move to allocate 630 million additional cash assistance to help low-income families as far from sufficient. In a statement, he described the Bantuan Keluarga Malaysia allocation as a paltry band-aid. He said the move is unable to relieve the burden of the bottom 40% and middle 40% of income earners. Lim said as a comparison, Singapore with a gross domestic product per capita almost 5 times more than Malaysia had announced a 4.7 billion ringgit aid package that is more than 7 times larger than Malaysia's aid package. He added that the financial aid is disappointing, not only in its small amount, but also not comprehensive to help Malaysians in the M40 as well as small and medium-scale enterprises. As a start, Lim said the Prime Minister should have announced that electric utility company Tenaga Nasional Berhad should not be permitted to increase electricity tariffs from next month onwards. He said STNB's net profit rose to 3.66 billion ringgit for the financial year ending December 31st, 2021. It is in a position to absorb rising gas and coal prices.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Prasad. Thank you for watching.